What is up, guys? My name is Billy and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. I post once a week, and you can follow me on Instagram too if you'd like. It's where I post all my content. So this is hopefully going to be the easiest blending tutorial you'll ever have to watch. So let's get into it. So I highly recommend, if you purchase alcohol markers, to get the ones that have the brush on one end and a chisel on the other. It'll make your life a whole lot easier when it comes to blending and getting that real smooth gradient you want. So you don't want to get something like this. This is actually one that I didn't purposely buy. I impulsively bought some markers and it turned out that they were all one end chisel and then the other end fine point. So you don't really want this one. I mean, unless you do, but I definitely recommend the brush. Maybe if you're drawing something that's more tedious and requires you to get between like finer lines, I would use that marker, but I definitely always recommend the brush. Man, look at that silky smooth lipstick brush. My goodness. It literally feels kind of like a paintbrush. You control the width of the line with the pressure of your stroke. And you can even get into tiny little crevices with the very tip of it. So say yes to the brush tip. Highly recommend. And as you can see here, the chisel is really for, I guess, filling in large portions. I don't use it too much sometimes. I just use it if I want like a super flat area. I might use it, but I always rely on that brush tip. Alright, so now we're gonna blend. Typically your markers will be numerically ordered from light to dark, which won't always be super accurate, as you'll see in the upcoming example, but choose 3 colors that are either numerically in order or 3 shades that are similar, like these greens here. They go from G1, G2, G3. Real simple, real easy. So to not bore you with my coloring, I've colored in GY1 and GY2, and it's very important to go over it more than once. It's very important to make sure you get the deepest tone of every shade that you apply, so that it doesn't screw up your blend. So as you can see, I'm just going over my GY2 to get the darkest shade of that tone. So all I'm doing is I applied GY1, the lightest color, then GY2, the medium color, and then now I'm just going in with GY1 over that little seam and trying to smoothen it out, trying to get that blend, that gradient. And you may have to do this a few times, go over it a few times to get that smooth transition that you're looking for. Alright, so now I'm going in with the darkest color, allegedly. I don't know, this doesn't really look that much darker than G1, but I guess it is according to the cap. But I'm coloring the third part, so it's going from light to dark, G1 to G3, coloring in G3. Now, in order to make the blend here, basically I want to go in with my lighter color G2 now, and then kind of work it in and just try to blend it out, as you can see. So yeah, when you're trying to like blend out the seam, I think it's effective to blend in a circular motion or kind of like a pulling motion. So we'll do another example. I'll use 2 different shades of color, P4 and P5, just 2 colors this time. Will make it even easier. So I'm going in with the lightest color on the left and just making sure that I get the absolute darkest tone of that shade. When you don't thoroughly and evenly apply your first shade, it'll look inconsistent and throw off your blend if you have to go back over it later. So make sure you go over it enough times to depict the actual shade before you start blending. And it doesn't even have to be the lightest color. As you can see, the left color that I started with is actually the darkest. I just started with that one because I wanted to show you that you could basically blend any 2 colors together as long as they're similar. You just kind of have to get the blending technique down that merges the 2 colors together. Once you're able to make that look clean and smooth, then you can be more crazy with the colors. And by the way, you can use gray to darken up a color. Like if you're not sure if you have a different shade that will make something darker, just use like a light gray. So like on that green, it's kind of light. I darkened it with a light gray. With the darker green, I'm using a darker gray. So depending on the shade, depends on the shade of gray you can use, but it'll definitely help you just darken up an area if you want to. Alright, I drew out another oval. Gonna do another example, and this one I'm using like a, I guess, red and darker red. And pretty much what I want to show you here is that you can use the colorless blender. It's basically just a colorless alcohol marker, and you can soften up color so you can blend it in easier, like I'm doing now. That's a pretty sharp line, so I'm just using the blender and kind of stroking up the middle so that it not only reapplies moisture to the colors, making it much easier to blend again, but also makes the seam, the split, the line, you know what I'm saying, that split, the color split, the seam, I don't even know if, is that the word, a seam? But you know what I'm saying, it makes it softer so you can work with it more. But that's pretty much about it, guys. Blending is all about practice and experimentation with what works best for you. I hope this wasn't oversimplified or anything, so if you'd like to watch a more in-depth guide on blending, you can click the link on the screen now. But if you found this video helpful, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.